Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. You know, just the other day, Jen Psaki was going on about how dangerous it is that Donald Trump and Elon Musk are essentially purging government.
That comes after an unprecedented purge of the FBI on Friday night.
The unprecedented purge of the FBI. And you know, she presented this as if it was baseline a bad thing, but most importantly, she presents it as if it's unjustified. But again, if you're going to make the claim that it's unjustified, you better bring the receipts, explain exactly why that is. Of course, the Democrats can't do this. Like I've been saying in all these videos, they just make a declarative statement and then say, the sources trust me, bro. This stuff isn't coming out of nowhere. It's been long in the making, and yes, it might be unprecedented, but it is certainly not unjustified. And just to really put that into perspective, I have a report here today that's really going to put it all into perspective, into clear, sober perspective. The FBI was weaponized for partisan gain, and now we are really able to quantify that. And the latest report from actually CNN of all outlets really shows us just how bad it really is. Let me show you guys exactly what I mean by that. We got some stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, folks, so it all starts off with this little CNN article that actually inadvertently revealed something quite interesting. Let's go ahead and read the title here. It says, FBI turns over details of 5,000 employees who worked on January 6 case, or rather January 6 cases, to Trump Justice Department as Agent Sue. And so it's just a headline, okay, 5,000 employees. But once you delve a little bit deeper, that's when it really starts to reveal the reality of how bad things got. Look at this. More than 5,000 employee details were submitted, including employee ID numbers, job titles, and their role in the January 6 investigations, sources said, but not their names. There are more than 13,000 agents and 38,000 total FBI employees. You probably see exactly where I'm going with this, right? Now, I'm not sure if these 5,000 employees who were involved in these January 6 investigations are all agents or whether they account for other employees as well, but the ratio here is what people are pointing out. 5,000 people were dedicated to these J6 cases out of either 13,000 agents or 38,000 total employees, meaning a significant chunk of the FBI was focused on these J6 investigations and indictments. In other words, it seems as though the FBI dedicated most of their resources to prosecuting J6 defendants. If that doesn't put the weaponization of the justice system into pure perspective, then I don't know what will. 5,000 employees were involved here. It was basically all hands on deck. Go after Donald Trump and all Trump supporters with essentially the entire might of the FBI. It really gives us a glimpse into the priorities. I mean, we pointed this out a long time ago, especially since all of this came right after the George Floyd riots of the summer of 2020. We saw violent riots take off across the entire nation. Federal police officers assaulted, groups of Antifa domestic terrorists throwing Molotov cocktails at police officers, taking over and lighting on fire federal buildings and police departments, innocent people losing their lives.
This is what we do. Ladies and gentlemen, I have never seen anything like this. The building's beginning to collapse. The building is collapsing!
And at the time, it felt like the justice system didn't even lift a finger. But when it comes to the J6ers, people who mostly just kind of existed on the day, walked in the rotunda, from what we were able to see, respected the Capitol building. When it came to those people, it was all hands on deck. Almost immediately, the moment Joe Biden took over, the moment that transition happened, we saw the raids commence. I mean, they found everybody, pretty much anybody who was there on that day that walked in the building, they found them. A huge pressure campaign. I mean, the whole might of the government was used to go after these people, and they even twisted the law in order to enable that. Like I've mentioned a million times, a lot of people that were charged were peaceful. They had committed maybe a misdemeanor at best, But the FBI and the DOJ used a very obscure law that was used in the Enron scandal. It was enacted as a part of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act of 2002 that was meant to close a legal loophole on who could be charged with evidence tampering and, of course, destruction of evidence of corporate files in an effort to block a legal proceeding, or rather an official proceeding. And they then took that definition and twisted it to apply in this case. In other words, they threw the freaking book at these people. I mean, just to quantify it really quick, just look at Donald Trump's recent pardons. He pardoned 1,500 J6ers. I mean, they went after everyone. I mean, call me crazy, but this is proof. This is proof that the FBI was weaponized. It's one standard for Democrats and their violent mobs on the street, and it's another standard for Donald Trump and Trump supporters. I mean, it's totally unbelievable, and we're not even beginning to go into any of the other details, like the recent revelation that the FBI planted people in the crowd, possibly agitating the crowd and taking advantage of mob mentality to essentially stir things up and entrap people by making them go in the building. We're not even going to start delving into the whole Nancy Pelosi element here, who was coincidentally recording a documentary on the day and called off National Guard protection of the Capitol despite the repeated intelligence warnings. You know, obviously, things the FBI clearly wasn't so interested in investigating. No, it was all one-sided, a total partisan hit job. They took a significant chunk of the FBI and essentially weaponized it against Trump supporters. And all the while, there was a crime epidemic happening. Violent crimes, robberies, even murders, especially in the 2021 to 22 era, were skyrocketing. Latin American gangs had, of course, infiltrated the nation thanks to Joe Biden's open, porous border, but the FBI didn't care, I guess, just like they didn't care too much about investigating Jeffrey Epstein or anything there. No, they'd never sic 5,000 FBI agents to investigate actual heinous crimes, but apparently, if it's Trump supporters, who were mostly peaceful on the day, who should have probably been handed maybe a misdemeanor at best, let's call it a fine, yeah, those people had to face the full might of the FBI. 5,000 FBI employees were engaged in these J6 prosecutions. If that right there doesn't obviously highlight the political bias, the corruption, the weaponization of this system, then I don't know what does. They went after all the J6ers, threw the book at them, twisted the law to go after them and turn their misdemeanors into felonies. Merrick Garland declared protesting parents at school board meetings domestic terrorist threats, and they also went after pro-life activists who were totally peaceful, but gun runners, drug runners, MS-13 members, Tren de Aragua gang members taking over entire apartment complexes. The list goes on and on and on, not to mention domestic gangs. I guess we'll put that on the back burner. How totally insane is that? Anyways, that's the revelation, just an interesting thing that's currently bouncing around social media. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and possibly subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.